Ladies and gentlemen, tonight was the end of an era, and in my opinion, um, Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida, in this generation, will go down as an iconic building in professional wrestling. It feels like the ECW arena in the ECW days. I think it was ECW, right?
Hammerstein Ballroom.
Yep. The ECW arena at the Hammerstein Ballroom. It's like that kind. I'm not saying it's that comparison, but it'll go down as an iconic building in the in this generation of wrestling. They play a video package at the end of the show, all the great moments, and I've yet to make a tweet about it. I've yet to um I didn't watch the whole thing because I was in the middle of tweeting about Sammy and MJF, but I'm gonna go back and watch it, and then tomorrow morning, I will put out a thank you tweet because, folks, once the beginning of the pandemic started, everybody was depressed and all that stuff, and watching the news. Nobody wanted to watch wrestling, and I remember Double or Nothing in 2020 came around, and everybody in the community started to get happy again. AEW brought that happiness in the wrestling community and in the world of wrestling that we really needed. And I'm here with Wesley Williams tonight. Not the usual. We're not going to do the usual stick because we're talking about the Daly's Place era top moments, man. What? Give me your thoughts, man. The ending video package. Obviously, yeah, we know JR made a hiccup saying WWE Dynamite. I mean, it was funny for 2 minutes, but as a professional, it's funny no longer. Mistakes happen. JR is old. Hopefully, Mara replaces him in the future. But go ahead, man. Um, your Daly's Place memories. What did you like about it? Are you going to miss it and all that stuff, man? The floor is yours, Mr. Williams.
Oh man, yeah, Daly's place for sure. I mean, it's held a very special place in pro wrestling. When you talk about like this generation of pro wrestling, I mean, obviously with the pandemic, it thwarted a lot of things. It put a lot of things on hold. It put AEW's big momentum run on hold because they were on a big, big, big momentum run after Revolution, man. And going into Revolution, going out of Revolution, they were on the biggest momentum run they could have possibly been on. Then, of course, the pandemic happened. It was very unfortunate. We were all down about it. Everybody was turning to the news. Everybody was turning to the upcoming election. Everybody was turning to all these different outlets. And AEW was still there for us pro wrestling fans when the pandemic hit. That first promo from Cody in the middle of the ring in an empty Daly's Place, I mean, that was just the beginning of it all. And then throughout this entire, 1+ year that we've spent in Daly's Place, it's definitely been a long and crazy ride. I think some of my favorite memories, I mean, overall, I'm just blessed that AEW is just still giving us a platform for pro wrestling throughout this entire time. I'm happy they didn't stop. I'm happy they still kept going, even when times were tough, even if they weren't pulling in the ratings that they were probably bound to get if the pandemic had never happened. But I feel like a lot of people will agree with me and say I think the best moment of this entire pandemic era, and it was shown in the video package tonight, was Brody Lee squashing Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. I mean, and then just to top it all off, the tribute show that they had for John Huber, absolutely just wonderful. I mean, I feel like everybody, during that time period was all together. Like whether you were an AEW fan, a WWE fan, it didn't really matter. Everybody came together as one, and we're just there for each other. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see because you don't see that in the pro wrestling community. You see just back and forth, everybody butting heads with each other. But it was so nice to see that positive environment for once when Brody Lee's unfortunate passing happened. And but yeah, I'd say my top moment for sure was Brody Lee winning the TNT Championship, and it's still such a shame that he's not here to be there for the comeback, the road tour back with fans again. But I know he's watching from the heavens above. I know he's definitely proud of what AEW's done for him and done for his family and has done for his son Brody Lee Jr. I mean, it's just great to see. I mean, there's so many moments throughout this era. I don't know if I could really name them all. That was just something there I really wanted to get out there was Brody Lee just because of the impact he made, and just the moment that he had with Cody Rhodes and him squashing over the TNT Championship. And then his last match ever was that dog collar match, which was definitely one of the highlights of 2020 for sure as far as matches go. But yeah, Daly's Place will be missed. I mean, now they are going to be coming back in a month for a homecoming show, but that will be the last. Excalibur did confirm that's the last time in a very long time that they will be doing a show at Daly's Place. But yeah, that will be happening. But still, Daly's Place was and is a very iconic venue for pro wrestling. And AEW, man, I just couldn't thank them enough for giving us true pro wrestling fans of something to look forward to every week. Still, even with there not being like actual fans in the crowd, they delivered for us, and that's all we could have ever asked from them.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You mentioned Brody Lee, and I saw Brody Lee in the video package that I saw, and I just want to talk about him a little bit and how much of a short impact he made on AEW in his existence for only I think he was only there for like 7 months, and he had that squash match with Cody Rhodes, and I would say that's a top moment at Daly's Place as well. I wouldn't say it's my favorite moment. I think as far as moments, as far as shows, I'm gonna go with the Brody Lee tribute show. As far as moments, I'm probably gonna go with the night Sting debuted. Like that was a very special night for pro wrestling world. Me as a Sting fan, that was very special. But for going back to the Brody Lee um, squash against Cody Rhodes, I remember that I actually did not watch that show live, and there was an NXT takeover on the same night in the summer, and I decided to watch that over it and did a review on that show, and then immediately I watched Dynamite after the review, and it was 12:30, and I did not read a single thing on Twitter, and I saw the match, thought it was going to be, I actually thought it was going to be a competitive match, and Brody Lee decimated this guy. And once he pinned him, I was like, whoa. And I woke up my dad, and he's like, what just happened? And he's like, I was like, Brody Lee just squashed Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship, man. Like, Cody did not get a move off of this guy. And then just the post match angle they did after that with the Dark Order laying out the Nightmare Family. That was amazing, man. I had to scroll back and watch it at least 5 more times throughout the night. And, that's just a moment for me as a wrestling fan. Like, I'm never going to forget that. And the Brody Lee tribute show, and it's just a shame. It's sad that he's not going to be able to be on the road and be in that live AEW atmosphere, because I'm telling you right now, if he was still with us, it's unfortunate that he's not, but if he was still with us, man, he would undoubtedly be a main eventer, and I'm telling you, he would definitely be um, a future AEW world champion. Like, very soon, he would definitely be a world champion, man. But I wanted to say that story and just how the Brody Lee appreciation and just how much of an impact he made in AEW during this pandemic era.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, AEW, they're a very special company, and I've just been a fan since day one, since its first launch. I mean, I've never stopped being an AEW fan. I criticize them, at times when stuff is bad, and there is a little bit of bad of Tonight Show that we'll get into.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I mean, AEW, it makes you proud to be a pro wrestling fan when you watch AEW. I mean, you feel so alive. Like, the 2 hours just fly by in the best way possible, and it leaves you with wanting more. That's what you want out of every pro wrestling show you watch. You shouldn't dread watching a pro wrestling show. You should go into it and be like, oh boy, here we go with this again. And here's another rematch, and here's here's an illogical booking decision. It's like you don't want that with your pro wrestling. You want to be actually looking forward to, oh wow, we got this match, and then we got this match too. Holy crap, this storyline's awesome. Wow, look at this other storyline. It's also just as great, if not even better. It's just like that's what makes us pro wrestling fans, is getting collectively excited for the next week's show and the week after that and the week after that. And that's what AEW has done for me. It's done for a lot of people. And you're going to have your retractors out there. You're always going to have your haters, but AEW keeps on running a well-oiled machine. And at the end of the day, they're giving us the best pro wrestling product in the entire world. And they did that throughout the pandemic. I mean, you couldn't tell me another wrestling company that was giving us better content than AEW was throughout the pandemic. I mean, there was not a single wrestling company in the world giving us better content than AEW was. They knew they had a set plan of what they were going to do, like to make things more still enjoyable and make things as exciting as they could, and they delivered on that. It wasn't perfect by any means, and no wrestling company ever is, but they still delivered at the end of the day, and that's all we could ever ask for.
Yeah, man, absolutely. No wrestling company is perfect, and we just appreciate the effort that they put in. Like Eddie Kingston said in the promo last week on Saturday Night Dynamite, the talent week in and week out, whether there's a small group of fans or no fans, they bust their ass for the people that watch and appreciate them, and it came from the heart. But the pandemic era is officially over, and as good of a run as AEW had in Daly's Place, and as moments they've had in Daly's Place, um, I'm not gonna miss them being in Daly's. To be honest, I think it's about time that they can get back. It's about time they get back on the road in front of a packed audience. We get that momentum heading in for these 4 shows in July. And next week is looking great. We're going to talk about next week, but I think you're in agreement with me. I don't know. You're not going to miss this Daily's Place era for AEW.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to get back to different arenas and to have a different group of fans and different cities, different states. I mean, I'm ready for AEW to make it back here to Memphis and for me to buy a front row seat to it, man. But yeah, I'm so excited for AEW to be back on the road, man. I've missed so badly the different venues and the different crowds every week, and like getting excited for like, oh, what's the crowd going to be like? Because AEW crowds, you can't deny, are the best crowds in pro wrestling. I mean, they always bring the energy every single week. Everywhere you go, they're bringing the utmost like energy and just hype, and it's awesome to see. And that's why it's what got me excited. You know, part of the excitement every week with AEW before the pandemic was, oh, what's this crowd going to be like? You know, oh, like this city, they're going to this city. That should be really cool. What kind of like gimmick might they do for like a match in this city or something like that? It's just a lot of different possibilities, and so it's going to be great to see them back on the road finally again. It just brings us back to the pre-pandemic days, and I'm just ready to get back on the road and can't wait to see what they great things they got in store for us.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We are already about to hit 13 minutes into the review, and we haven't even said a word about tonight's show, man. So we had a lot to say about the AEW pandemic era. We're just so excited. For myself and Wesley here on the Big Fight Field channel, we are very excited that AEW is going to be back on the road, and I'm excited to cover it, man. Starting next week with Road Ranger, but we got to get through tonight first. I'm not even going to do the self-brand promotions because we're already 13 minutes into the review, so we're just going to get it right going. We had Chris Jericho on commentary the entire night, and we opened up tonight's show with Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo versus the AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, who were supporting a new look tonight. And as a quote from Tony Schiavone, he says, and I quote, "These guys look like porn stars." Yes, Tony Schiavone actually said that on commentary. I was laughing my ass off because of that. I was actually funnier than what JR said at the end of the show. Not going to say what he said, but what Tony Schiavone said, man, had me laughing my ass off. So that was a good start to the show. Sorry about that.
No problem. Hey, I mean, I was taken for a loop as well. I mean, these guys just come out with a different look every week, and it's something else for us to look forward to with AEW. It's like, what new getup and what new look will the Young Bucks have this week? And lo and behold, Matt Jackson's rocking the porn stash, and then we got Nick Jackson rocking the Fu Manchu, or the handlebar mustache, as people like to call it. And then we also see Kenny Omega sporting the handlebar mustache. So I guess handlebar mustaches are a big thing in pro wrestling now, at least in AEW they are. But the Young Bucks, man, they're continuing to live the gimmick, the heel gimmick. It's great. I love it. The Young Bucks don't give a crap, and I just love it so much, man. what did they call themselves last week? They're EVPs. They're extremely violent people. I love that. I love that. This is great stuff, man. Yeah, great match too with Young Bucks, Eddie Kingston, and Pentagon. Always a hot open with AEW. My one major gripe, and I think you know what it is the champions got pinned in a non-title match. Doesn't matter what company it is. It doesn't matter if you're a champion and you're getting pinned in a non-title match. I'm not okay with it. Thankfully, AEW doesn't do this like a whole lot. It's a very, very rare instance, but I still don't like it when it happens. I didn't like it when Darby Allin got pinned by Brian Cage in a non-title tag team match. And then I didn't really like it either when Chris Jericho got pinned when he was AEW World Champion by Scorpio Sky. But it sets up the title match for next week as we got Eddie and Penta versus the Young Bucks for the AEW tag title. Should be great. They delivered a banger tonight. I expect another banger next week, but I wish the Young Bucks didn't have to take the pin. But Frankie Kazarian did get involved, and the Good Brothers got involved. A whole lot of chaos happened on the outside, so that was the reason why the Young Bucks lost. But regardless, this was a phenomenal tag team match to get us going here on Dynamite.
I might come off as an AEW shill. I don't really care, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here because they actually protected the Young Bucks here. And it felt necessary because you knew the Young Bucks were going to have to defend the tag titles on one of these big shows. So the fact that Matt Jackson got sprayed in the eyes, you had Frankie Kazarian coming down there and being the elite hunter. By the way, I love that new gimmick of like you don't know when he's going to be there. He can strike at any time. I really like that with Frankie Kazarian now. And he even has it on his hoodie. It says Elite Hunter on it. So I really like that. And, the action was great here. This was a fantastic match. Fantastic match to open up the show, nonstop. And I have a feeling that next week's match with the tag titles on the line inside of a full audience, they're going to want to do even better than they did last week. So I expect an even better match at Road Rager than I did last week. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt for the Young Bucks getting pinned here. They were protected. Matt Jackson got sprayed in the eyes. You had Frankie Kazarian down there. And it was a fantastic way to open up the show. The crowd was hot to open up the show, man. Unbelievable. They were loud tonight. The last show in Daly's Place in the pandemic era. They were very loud tonight. And the Young Bucks are changing it. They changed up their look. And they changed up their look with the going into the live shows. Let me tell you something, man. Next week on the channel, I better see you coming in with a solo Matt Jackson mustache. I'm telling you.
No promises. No promises.
I'm just kidding. Don't worry about it.
I like the beard, man. I gotta keep the beard for the channel. I gotta keep myself looking well groomed over here.
Yes, man. I'm trying to grow myself one as well, but it's summer, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful I've finally been able to grow out some decent facial hair because before all I could grow was a peach fuzz mustache. You did not want to see me during those days, man. Like late high school, early college days. Yeah, it was rough.
Although since I probably am moving down to Florida for college, I don't think it'd be a great idea to have a beard because it's always hot in Florida, and facial hair it makes your face hot, I think. So I don't know. We got months to figure out. We're here talking about facial hair on the Big Fight Fuel channel.
Facial hair. We should be talking about pro wrestling, man. But Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, they got us talking about facial hair, man. These freaking heels, these tag champions, they get us talking about all this other stuff. Let's get back to the pro wrestling.
I hate those guys. I really do, man. I hate the Young Bucks. But we're going to move on from the Young Bucks. We're going to talk about Ethan Page as he came out there. He got some good heel heat, man. Ethan Page knows how to get some heat. He's a good heel, man. He really is. I did not know how much heat him and Scorpio Sky were going to get in this feud with Darby Allin from a lack of interest, but we were proven wrong. And you know what? Hey, that's a good thing because Ethan Page has proven himself that he's a solid heel in AEW, and he came out, he got on the microphone, talked a thing with Darby, said what I've been doing to Darby's not enough, so I can't hurt him physically anymore. So, what was the word that he used?
He said, like, I tried throwing you in the crowd. That wasn't enough. I tried throwing you down some concrete steps, that wasn't enough. He's wanting so badly to the point he just wants to kill Darby Allin. He wants to just completely just destroy him in any way he can, and that's why this coffin match will be taking place not next week, because it looks like we're going to have to wait a little bit because Ethan Page called it off for a week, but he's saying maybe at Fyter Fest Night 1 will be getting it, which is looking like the case. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this coffin match is. Sting comes out with a coffin. Darby Allin has a video package. Darby Allin comes into it. Darby Allin has these big, gigantic nails on his hands, and he was digging it into the eyes of Ethan Page. I expected to see some blood, but we did not see a single ounce of blood on Ethan Page's face. But Ethan's like, before we have this coffin match, I need you to keep your hands off of me for 1 week. So we're not going to have this match next week at Road Rager. Maybe at Fyter Fest. Maybe Fyter Fest. So I do think that this match is going to happen on one of the Fyter Fest shows. I'm not so sure. But I am very interested to see how this coffin match is, man. I'm quite excited for it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Of course, we've seen in WWE the casket match being a very popular stipulation, brought famous by The Undertaker. And so here with the coffin match, I'm very interested to see how they do this. If it's going to be, I feel like it may not be exactly just like the casket match in WWE. I feel like it's going to be maybe a little bit different, but I think the same kind of idea of like how somebody wins the match. But I believe Darby and Ethan Page are going to give us an absolute banger of a match. I mean, the crowd's going to be red hot for Darby Allin, and then Ethan Page has already established himself into a very solid heel on this program. I mean, the heat he got tonight and the heat he has been getting throughout the weeks on AEW television, it's been great to see. I mean, Ethan Page is just a perfect heel opponent for Darby Allin. I mean, these two guys really mesh well together. You got the underdog babyface in Darby Allin, and you got the dastardly heel in Ethan Page, and then here we are with this coffin match happening. It looks like Fyter Fest Night 1, and it should be great stuff, man. I feel like it's going to be a match that a lot of people remember once we get to the end of the year.
Yeah. You might disagree with this, but, I'm just going to go ahead and say I think Ethan Page it's early to call the match, but I think Ethan Page can use this win more than Darby Allin can.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. Ethan Page could use a really good singles. I mean, I really want Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky to be pushed as singles guys again, because I'm again, this tag team, I'm still not buying it. I mean, I don't think I ever will, and I think both guys just are much better off being singles guys. I feel like a win for Page could do him very well, so I wouldn't be mad at it, the result of Ethan Page winning. But I honestly kind of feel like, in a way, like the stipulation, it kind of fits more in Darby's favor. So, but I don't know who they could swerve us. We never know. I mean, I'm happy it's kind of an unpredictable match. So.
Yeah, it's not predictable at all. Very, very unpredictable going into that coffin match. So we'll have to see when it takes place. But I'm quite excited for that one. And who knows? Maybe it's a headliner for one of the Fyter Fest shows. So we'll have to see. But we're going to move on to Jack Evans versus Jungle Boy. Before we have to talk about this match, we did not review last Saturday's Dynamite. Saturday night, I had a graduation party. And Sunday night, we were doing the review, but we had lots of technical difficulties on both of our behalves and could not bring you the review, unfortunately. But we are going to talk about Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega now, Saturday night for the AEW World Championship. This match was incredible, I thought. In my opinion, I favored tonight's main event more than I did Saturday night's main event, to be honest, a small inch. A small inch. And I'll get to that why in the main event. But number one, these last two shows with these two main events, what a way to go out, man. What a way to go out. Jungle Boy, Kenny Omega went over. Obviously, Kenny Omega was not dropping the AEW World Championship to Jungle Boy, but Kenny Omega went over, but Jungle Boy got over. He came out just like the Casino Battle Royal. He came out better than he did coming in. And at the match with Kenny Omega, he came out better than he did coming in. Jungle Boy is a made man now in AEW. He is one of the big stars. Even though he's technically in a tag team with Luchasaurus and Jurassic Express, um, and I thought they were going to challenge for the tag titles at All Out. I don't see that happening anymore. I don't know what they do with the Young Bucks and the tag team championships, but Jungle Boy is a made man as a single star, and I was happy to see him get this amazing match with Kenny Omega on Saturday night. I don't know what Meltzer rated it. I don't think it came out yet, but I think it'd be pretty close to like 4.5 stars. But this match I thought it was an amazing match, man. And I thought Jungle Boy was going to win it at a couple points, but he lost to the One Winged Angel, which is, by the way, the most protected move in all professional wrestling, which I love. So this was an incredible main event Saturday night. Wes, what do you think about it, dude? Give the people your thoughts.
Well, Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega definitely delivered last Saturday night. Yeah, like you said, Joseph, these last two main events we've had here at Daly's Place to end off the pandemic era, it's just phenomenal stuff, man. I mean, Jungle Boy, I mean, like you say, he's a made man. Jungle Boy is one of the top stars in AEW, and it even solidified it even more tonight, because tonight he picked up his 50th win in AEW. He's the first person in AEW history to pick up 50 wins, and that's a really big deal when you think about all the talent that you have in that locker room. Jungle Boy being the first one to register 50 wins in his career, that's massive. You can tell that AEW still got big plans for Jungle Boy. He came up short against Kenny Omega, but he did got a lot of people loving him by the end, loving him even more so at the end of the match, and he just delivered an awesome main event match with Kenny Omega for the world title. Kenny Omega retained, as we all expected, but Jungle Boy undoubtedly will be a world champion one day. I mean, the guy is one of the most organically over baby faces in all of pro wrestling. I mean, and he's just really just built up such a great name for himself. And I mean, it's only up from here for Jungle Boy. And tonight he had this match with Jack Evans, and he won that 50 wins. First person ever registered 50 wins in AEW. Big deal there. A lot of people really should pay attention to that detail, because that's only going to be 50 more wins and the 50 more wins after that. Jungle Boy's got a long career ahead of him, and it's only up from here, like I said.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you just said, he had a match with Jack Evans tonight. Decent match, nothing too special. Jungle Boy beats Jack Evans clean. After the match, the Hardy family office come out. Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, a private party. Then they get attacked by Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Christian Cage. Angelico comes out, and he brawls against Luchasaurus, I think. And they go to the back. So we get this big pull apart brawl. We get this big brawl then with Matt Hardy and Christian Cage. So I expect them two to have a match on one of the big shows coming up. And I think this is very predictable to see where this is going. I see Christian Cage turning on Jungle Boy very soon. And I see this being a match at I see Christian going heel, and I see this being a match at All Out. So, and I think would you go with that direction?
Yeah, I would. I think a lot of us in the pro wrestling community can tell that Christian's turning on Jungle Boy. The amount of pep talks that Christian's had with Jungle Boy over these weeks, and the amount of times he's come up to Jungle Boy, I mean, they're definitely teasing a heel turn, and I feel like that's what's going to go down. And I feel like by the time we get to All Out in September, we're going to get a one-on-one match with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, which should be a great match. And it's a great way to get Jungle Boy over against one of the top guys in the entire industry for many years. I mean, this is what you want in your pro wrestling product. You want the veteran to put over the baby face, put over the younger talent. That's the whole point. It's not the other way around. Like certain companies like to do it. It's the older talent putting over the younger talent. And I definitely see that scenario playing out here with Christian Cage and Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should go. It'll get Christian Cage is going to be hated because everybody loves Jungle Boy. Everybody wants to see Jungle Boy win, and with Christian Cage turning, he's going to get an immensely amount of good heat. I think that's only a good thing in Jungle Boy's eyes, in AEW's eyes, and I think I think that's a match you do it all out. It's Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage, and it's quite obvious because these pep talks have to lead to something. All of this is going to lead to something. I feel like whenever Christian Cage has always been, he says he's been there for Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus says tonight that you've been here for Outbacks, and we're going to be here for yours. Um, I don't think. I think Matt Hardy is going to beat Christian in the match they have at whenever they have it, and I think we'll see no appearance from Jurassic Express, and then in a couple weeks maybe, I think Christian's going to snap, and he's still going to be like, "You never had my back" or whatever. So that's the story I think they're going to go with.
Yeah, I could definitely see it playing out like that. I think, yeah, first we're going to get Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy at one of the July shows. And then, once we get to All Out in September, it's Jungle Boy versus Christian Cage. And we're going to get, a big heel Christian Cage against the ultimate babyface Jungle Boy. And it should be a great bout.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm honestly looking forward to see what happens with all of this. But we moved on to the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega, who is supporting a new look, just like the Young Bucks, and he says he's beaten everybody. He has beaten the toughest guy in AEW with just John Moxley. He has beaten the best high flyer in the world, Ray Phoenix. He beat what did he say about Orange Cassidy?
The most over and the most charismatic, or like or like at least the fans, the one that the fans all love, and Orange Cassidy.
He defeated the most talented wrestler in he defeated the best wrestler in AEW outside of Kenny Omega, which was Pac. And then he said last week he defeated one of the most upcoming rising stars in professional wrestling for the next 20 years, Jungle Boy. And he says, there is nobody left for me to defend the title again, so I am going to go on break. But you guys can still catch me defending world championships on other promotions, and you can see me do that. And out came the Dark Order. You guys know why the Dark Order came out and says, we think that there's someone else for you to defend the world championship against. And Omega's like, if you think the person I know you're talking about, I don't think he has the guts. If I think I know the person you're talking about, he doesn't think he can stand toe to toe with me. I don't think he can stand toe to toe with me. I don't think he wants to be put in the pressure situation. So they're making it look like that Hangman Page is afraid of failure. Love it. I love the story already. And then later in the night, Hangman rushes into the Dark Order locker room. He's like, what are you guys doing? I don't need you to talk for me. I don't need you to speak for me. Have challenges laid out for me. He's like, what are you guys doing? And Colt Cabana of the Dark Order was like, we think you're afraid of failure. And it's okay not to be afraid. It's okay to fail because we've all failed. You were just praising Evil Uno's performance when he lost the TNT Championship match to Miro. You praised John Silver when he lost to Darby Allin. We have your back. You can trust us, Hangman. I love the story that they're telling, man. The seeds have been planted, and I love the story, and I love the direction they're going in. It's making it look like I said, Hangman Page is afraid of failure. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a storyline that's been just heavily built up for so long. I mean, it goes, all the way back to when Omega and Page were tag champions, and when they lost those tag team titles. It really kickstarted, I feel like, there, and then here we are. It's now the seeds have officially been planted for Omega versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Title. I predict that it happens at All Out. That's your big main event match to pull the trigger on, and I just, like you said, Joseph. I mean, I love this storyline too of Hangman, being unsure and just being, so afraid to fail, and a little hint of that was shown on that Saturday episode of Dynamite after Hangman had defeated Powerhouse Hobbs. He was celebrating, and then he had that little glimpse of, noticing, oh man, I'm the number one contender for the world title, and he got nervous, and then he went right back into a smile, and so it was, that was a nice, like, little great attention to detail moment there for AEW and for Hangman, and this moment has been built up for so long now, and here we are with Page versus Omega, and the seeds again, they've been planted, and the Dark Order, I love the association with him and the Dark Order, and the fact that the Dark Order has his back, and you got Kenny, who has got the super elite with the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks and Michael Nakazawa and Don Callis. You got all these different people. I mean, and then Hangman's got the Dark Order on his side, so it's like you got Kenny will have his boys, Hangman will have his boys, and so it's just a really well put together storyline, and it's all thanks to AEW and their creative team, and man, it's gonna be awesome to see how this continues to play out as we get into September for All Out.
I tweeted this out earlier just to see how people would react to it. But I said I feel like I feel like this reaction is going to get us to cheer Hangman like we were with Daniel Bryan when he went up against the Authority. I know it's early, you can't really compare it yet, but can you see possible comparisons to that storyline? Because I think it's possible.
I think, yeah, I certainly think it's possible. I think if it's just continued to be built up as well as it has been, I feel like you will get a Daniel Bryan-esque reaction for Hangman Page when you have those full crowds back, because we're getting back on the road again. You're going to have the full crowds, and I mean, Hangman is still super over with the fans, and I mean, I feel like it can possibly get to that level of Daniel Bryan, and then of course, a lot of us wrestling fans, we lived through that those moments of Daniel Bryan when he was battling the Authority back in 2014, going to WrestleMania 30, and that was by far that might have been my favorite storyline. Definitely in the modern era, but it's definitely one of my favorite storylines of all time in pro wrestling. Daniel Bryan's my favorite pro wrestler, so I'm pretty biased when it comes to Daniel Bryan. But you talk about somebody who organically built himself up as a babyface. I mean, he garnered reactions that I've not seen since the days of Stone Cold Steve Austin, since the days of The Rock. I mean, you talk about somebody who gravitated towards the fans. That's Daniel Bryan, and I could see that same thing happening with Hangman Page, man. If they continue to book Page the way that they're booking him, he could be a big top babyface for years and years to come.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited. I want to see what's going to happen next. And buckle up, folks, because the ride has just started. You better get on before it's too late. But I bet we're gonna be talking more Kenny Omega and Hangman Page here on the Big Fight Field channel. But we got to move on here. We just had a big topic of discussion here, but we're gonna move on to the TNT Championship match. Brian Pillman Jr. versus Miro came out to new theme music. I gotta admit, the best man gimmick is over. It didn't fit with his new character, but I like that. I like his old theme better than his new. I don't really know how I feel about this. It's gonna take a while to get used to, but for now, I like his old theme music better. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet. I saw a lot of people did like it on Twitter. They were a fan of it. It does kind of have a bit of like a gladiator type of sound to it, like it's almost like a gladiator entrance when you like look into like the Stadium of Rome or something, and there's like a big time knight or big time gladiator making an entrance. So I guess that's what they were trying to maybe copy here with Miro. But I mean, tell you, man, Miro continues to be one of the best things in pro wrestling, man. I mean, this God's favorite champion gimmick, I will continue to say it. It's so good. It is just so good. I would not change a thing about it. I mean, Miro just coming out. I mean, he just owns the place, man. He owns it when he comes out. That death stare that he has at the center of the ring. When he made his entrance and he just threw the title in the ring, he literally just like launched it at Aubrey Edwards. I'm like, this dude is just, he's insane, and he's just a flat out beast. It's amazing to watch. Very solid TNT title match with Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman has got a bright future ahead of him. I mean, he's definitely one of the big rising stars in this company. I still want to continue to see him in a tag team with Griff Garrison, to see the Varsity Blondes continue to get built up. I did see they're still number one contenders for the tag titles in the AEW rankings, so they're still pretty high up there in the higher upper echelon of the tag team division. But very solid performance here from both guys. I really like the detailed detail here with the end of this match. I really like that Pillman passed out instead of tapped out to the game over. It helped him look strong. It didn't make him look weak. The fact that he passed out, he refused to tap out to the game over, and the way Miro just wrenches back on that game over, man. My gosh, I mean, it's some of the most devastating stuff you could ever see with a submission move. But Miro, man, it's just I don't know who you set up right now to beat him for that TNT title. I mean, it's I feel like right now you should really ride off of the momentum that he's built up for himself and the credibility he's built up for himself, and just keep going for as long as you can until you find that kryptonite for Miro and his TNT title run. But I'm loving this, man. It's Miro is one of my favorite people in pro wrestling by far right now. I mean, the guy's just unstoppable.
Yeah, very solid TNT Championship match with Brian Pillman Jr. Not my favorite TNT Championship match, but man, if I'm Tony Khan and I'm upper management of AEW, I'm having him hold that title going into next year. He's too dominant. He's built up as a big monster that we all know he should have been coming into AEW. And I don't think you stop that momentum, man. I don't think you take the title off of him until you actually have somebody that is set and ready to take the TNT title off of him, like a Jungle Boy. That's the first name that comes to mind with me. But if you're gonna do that, I would not do that until at least 2022, or at the earliest full gear of this year, or at the latest 2022. He should have a nice long reign. He defeat wrestler after wrestler after wrestler, make him look dominant, make him he's God's favorite champion right now. He's living the gimmick. I love it. He's one of my favorite things in AEW right now, and he doesn't need to be in the rivalry right now because he's just a dominant champion who is taking down like I said, wrestler after wrestler after wrestler. You just keep doing that with him. I'm sure we'll get a title defense from him on one of these shows. Who he defends the title against, I don't know, but we'll have to see. I'm enjoying his stuff right now.
Me too, man. It's wonderful stuff. And another detail I loved was after he retained against Brian Pillman Jr., the fact that he got on his knees and he took the TNT title and he was like lifting it up to God like it was a sacrifice. And like it's just like stuff like that is just gold. Like that is how you effectively build up like a beast and just a great character like Miro, man. And it's wonderful to see. But yeah, continue to have him dominate wrestler after wrestler after wrestler, week after week. And until you find somebody who is worthy enough, who us fans can look at as, yes, this person's ready. This person should be the one to dethrone Miro, and that's when you pull the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think he should be the champion going into next year?
I wouldn't mind it. I'd say just continue to ride the wave. Just ride that wave until you find that worthy person.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, it's time. We got to get to that bad match. This match was trash. I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. This was trash. We had Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero versus Britt Baker and Rebel. Now, first things first, I hope Rebel's okay. Did you see the video of her hurting her knee?
I heard the news. I do remember in the match that I saw her mouth to Nyla Rose like pull me because I think that was the moment when she hurt herself. But I did hear the news that she was carried to the back. So thoughts and prayers with Rebel. I really hope it's nothing serious and that she's gonna be all right.
It looked pretty nasty, dude. I'm gonna be. Hopefully everything's okay, but the knee, with the video from Justin Hollis on Twitter, go give him a follow. Her knee looked pretty Her knee looked pretty bad. She had trouble getting up on the ramp, and I don't know, man. Hopefully she's okay, but just straight up honest with you guys, like we said in the beginning, AEW gives us a lot of positivity, but there's also some bad stuff on the show, and this certainly was bad. This match was not good. Not good. We actually saw Vicky Guerrero wrestle tonight. Go
Yeah.
ahead, talk
Yeah.
about the match, dude. I'm about to sneeze, so go talk about it.
All right. Yeah. I don't know. We were like, it was teased that we might get a surprise tonight with this match. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I wish it did because it would have saved us from seeing Vicky Guerrero in a wrestling ring in 2021. We shouldn't see Vicky Guerrero in a wrestling ring any year in any capacity other than just her being a manager, and that's that. I don't know why we had this match. This could have easily been scrapped. This could have easily been scrapped. You could have filled this with something else or something better when it comes to this feud with Nyla Rose and Britt Baker for the women's title. It's just such a weird feud, because you got two women who are heels, and it's like, I mean, and it's like, it's gonna be a good match. I imagine it's gonna be a good match when we do see Britt Baker and Nyla Rose for the women's side. I believe it's happening at one of the nights of Fighter Fest. I believe that's when it's happening, but
Night 2.
night 2, yeah. And so it will be a good match, I'm sure, but we did not need this at all. This was garbage. This was main roster WWE booking. Like this was not good. We didn't need this. We didn't see Vicky in a wrestling ring. I mean, you could have easily booked something else. I don't know why. I really just don't know why AEW thought like, hey, let's put Vicky in a women's tag team match. No, nothing about that sounds good. So yeah, it was teased even that like Tia Trinidad, formerly Selena Vega, she was probably gonna take Vicky's spot, which I would have taken more than having Becky actually wrestle, but that did not happen. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say about it. This was bad. This was like the one truly bad thing about tonight's show, because overall tonight's show was really good, but we got to point out the negative like we do with any other wrestling show, and this was really bad. I'd say right now, this didn't help the feud. It didn't help the women's title. It just doesn't help anybody at the end of the day.
No, it made me not really care about the match. Like, I'm sure they'll have a good match. If anything, this feud is turning Britt Baker into a babyface. If anything, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but hopefully it's just a temporary thing. Because let's be honest, anybody watching the review, I know there's a lot of people watching the review. Of course, you're gonna watch us. Do you guys want Nyla Rose to beat Britt Baker? The more than 10 times out of 10, maybe 9, unless there's someone else out there. The answer is no. You want to see Britt Baker beat Nyla Rose. You're going to cheer for Britt Baker to win. So, if anything, I feel like this feud is turning Britt into a temporarily babyface. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, to be honest.
I mean, I hope they're not like going back to her being a babyface, because she works so much better as a heel. I understand that she's over. I get that she's gotten the DMD initials over, but you need to book her continuously as a heel. That's where she hits her stride the most. Like, as a babyface, it didn't work. We've seen at the very beginning of AEW, when Britt Baker was the first woman signed, they debuted her as a babyface. It didn't work. She wasn't getting over. And then once she turned heel and became very dastardly and just became just a stone cold bitch, that's when people really started to invest in her character, and we started to see more improvement from her in the ring. But yeah, hopefully this is just a temporary deal. It's almost in a way a bit of a similar situation like with Karrion Kross and Johnny Gargano for the NXT, because Johnny Gargano is kind of a tweener right now. I wouldn't say he's full-fledged babyface again. He's just kind of a tweener. And then Kross is like just back to being a heel after it looked like he was a little bit of a babyface for a tiny bit. And then they just went back to him being just an evil monster heel. And so it's like, it's a weird kind of dynamic in a way. But I mean, with Johnny Gargano, he's just over regardless, because he's a great pro wrestler. He's a great in-ring storyteller. And with this, it's just like, this just doesn't, add any excitement. At least with Kross and Gargano, like, people are actually excited for that.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like people are just losing excitement. And it's like, you want to make Britt Baker's title reign something very memorable. I mean, she beat Hikaru Shida, who had a very long title reign with that women's championship. And Britt Baker is probably the most over woman you got on your roster, and you want to make her title reign special. So it's just having a bit of a rough start. I'm not saying the title reign's ruined. It's way too early to call that. This is the first feud. It's just kind of a rough start, but we'll see how it continues to play out. But I'm pretty much ready for this to kind of move on into something else.
Yeah, if anything, this tag team match tonight. It made me not care about the match at Fyter Fest. But you know what's something I do care about? Road Rager. And we got the full lineup announced next week for Full Ranger. We're going to talk about it, or I'll give you the matches right now. So next week for the tag team titles, your headliner match is the Young Bucks versus Penta and Eddie Kingston for the tag team championships. We have Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall in a strap match. We have a six-man tag with Santana Ortiz and Jake Hager of the Inner Circle versus Wardlow and FTR of Proud and Powerful. Andrade will go one-on-one with Matt Sydal, which was called by Big Fight Field Zone Wesley Williams.
You're welcome, AEW.
And next week we have what Tony Schiavone said was a historic match because it's AEW's first ever mixed tag team match with Chris Statlander and Orange Cassidy against the Bunny and the Blade. And then also we have a face-off between MJF and Chris Jericho, but MJF is going to give Jericho stipulations in order to get another match with him. So I guess we're going down the MJF Cody Rhodes line once again. But man, I really like this card, man. This is a really good card next week for Road Rager. I'm excited.
Absolutely, yeah. They got a great card set up for next week. A lot of great matches set up. I mean, what a way to get back on the road with a card like this. And I'm very much looking forward to see what they have planned for both nights of Fyter Fest and for Fight for the Fallen at the end of July. But man, yeah, they got a really great card set up for Road Rager, and I'm excited, man. It's gonna be good.
Absolutely, man. So we'll have to see what happens. Well, of course. Except if anything bad happens, myself and Wesley Williams will be here next week to cover Road Rager on the Big Fight Field channel. So, finally, we got the main event of tonight's show, the last match ever in the Daily's Place pandemic era of AEW. MJF, Sammy Guevara. My friend, I'm going to give it to you first.
Oh, man. MJF, Sammy Guevara, man. I don't think you could have ended a pandemic run at Daily's Place any better. These two guys undoubtedly gave all of us a match of the year candidate, no question. Some people might disagree with that, but this match had just everything you could have asked for and just a big blood feud that's been building up for months on end. The Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, they hate each other, and here we are with MJF and Sammy Guevara one-on-one, man. I mean, when you look at this match right here, this is a match you can look at as this is the future. This is the future of pro wrestling right before your very eyes. You have Sammy Guevara, who I believe is only like 27 years old. You got MJF, who's 25. The youth in pro wrestling, man, I mean, it's very bright. It's very great. These two guys, I mean, the spots they came up with at this match tonight were absolutely insane. You got Sammy Guevara jumping from the top rope into the crowd with a rolling, or was it like a tope suicida, but from the turnbuckle onto MJF in the crowd. Unbelievable. Sammy Guevara is a freak athlete. And then you had the Avalanche Tombstone Pile Driver, which was probably the most dangerous spot in this entire match. I'm so happy that did not end up going horribly, because my goodness, one wrong move and Sammy Guevara would have been probably dead right now. But thankfully that move was executed all right. I couldn't believe that.
Hold on a second. I want to talk about that. That move was scary as shit. I did not think a top rope Tombstone Pile Driver was a good idea. But Sammy Guevara really could have been hurt in that situation, and he did a good job selling. I really thought MJF hurt his knee right there. Like, he was screaming in pain. He was selling that knee I really thought he hurt his knee. But he just did a great job selling there. But I did not like that spot. I would have a regular Tombstone Pile Driver is not a bad idea, but a top rope. What was it, top or second rope?
It was the second rope.
A second rope Tombstone Pile Driver, very, very dangerous, man. I did not like that, but these guys were unbelievable. Sammy jumped off the top rope and hit a big destroyer on MJF. And this was everything that you wanted in this match. And, you think of great AEW. Here's another thing of the pandemic era. They give you great main event matches on Dynamite. I mean, let's run. You got this match. You got the Jungle Boy Omega match. You got Ray Phoenix and Omega. You have that Falls Count Anywhere match with Kenta and Omega versus Mox and Archer. I'm not going to talk about it forever because it's just way too long of a list. But if you guys think that this could be a TV match of the year candidate, I would not disagree with you at all. I would absolutely put this up there with with the likes of Ray Phoenix and Kenny Omega and the rest of the great TV matches. I can't come up with it in my head right now. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns from SmackDown. This match was excellent. An excellent main event. Another spot I did not like was when Jericho got attacked by Wardlow, and Wardlow threw down Chris Jericho from that ramp, and Jericho landed on his feet, and the commentary team made it look like Wardlow killed Jericho, and it was quite obviously, Jericho landed on his feet. He took a safe bump. Like Tony Schiavone made it look like Wardlow killed Chris Jericho, and I'm like, dude, chill out a little bit. He's fine. They had Jericho bleeding on the top of his head. I'm like, bro, come on. That's the only spot in the match that I did not like. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think what would have been more impactful is if like Wardlow just threw him through that announce table or not announce table,
Yes.
that ringside table they have. That would have been a great spot right there if Jericho would have taken a bump through that table like Wardlow just threw. That would have been way more effective. Then the commentary team would have been more justified to react the way that they did. But yeah, it was just kind of an underwhelming bump that trigger. But I get that Jericho's older and he can't probably take like the craziest of bumps, but like, I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, at least make it look better,
Yeah, I agree. But then at the end of the match, Sammy looks over to Chris Jericho like he did at Blood and Guts. He's like, "Oh my God, are you okay, Chris?" And then he turns around. He gets a chair shot to the head by Shawn Spears. Sammy gets the hands up, and then MJF. By the way, at that 6:30 spot when MJF was begging Sammy not to hit the 6:30 spot, this dude was literally sitting up when Sammy hit the 6:30. I thought he was gonna land on his face. That was also a great spot as well, man.
I
So
thought the match was over when he hit that. I legit thought Sammy was winning that match when that was spot hit, and then he kicked out. I'm like, are you kidding me? Wow. Like, all right then.
folks, if you're watching this review and you did not see MJF versus Sammy Guevara, do me a favor. Go take 20 to 25 minutes out of your day. That's it. Just go take 20 minutes to go watch this match, and you're not going to regret it. This was built up for literally 6 months, and the match happened tonight. And I'd say overall, this match blew away expectations.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you couldn't have capped off a show like this any other way. And now next week we're back on the road Rager Miami. Then we're off to Texas, and then North Carolina at the end of July. July's gonna be a great month, man, and we got Great American Bash with NXT next week too. So loaded shows for next week, and then month of July. It's gonna be a fun month, man. And then we got August, and then September we got All Out in Chicago, and then they're gonna have, Rampage is gonna be debuting next month too in August. So it's gonna be very eventful next few months for pro wrestling and for AEW. And man, just what a great show tonight. AEW delivering once again, and man. Next week, we're back on the road. We're going to be in Miami. We're going to be talking about the South Beach Showdown that's going to be happening, and I can't wait for it, man. Great show tonight. I expect nothing less in the weeks to come.
You guys thought I was. I mean, No one said I was lying, but I said on Twitter that it's gonna be a big summer for the Big Fight Field channel. Even though we got college coming up in September. I promise you guys, with work, everything, it's gonna be a big summer here on the channel, and it started last Sunday with Hell in a Cell, or 2 Sundays ago. It started then, and it's gonna be a huge summer on the channel, man. So you're gonna want to be subscribed. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We just reached an hour on the review, so thank you all for tuning in for the hour review here tonight. Be sure to subscribe for the content rest of the week. And then next week is going to be a big week as well. You're going to want to be subscribed for when I talk about the Great American Bash with Cameron Johnson and Road Rager with Wesley Williams. You're going to want to be subscribed for those two big reviews right there, man. You make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment down below your thoughts about tonight's AEW Dynamite. Your favorite memory at Daly's Place for AEW in the pandemic era. Hit the like button if you like what myself and Wesley Williams had to say in this review. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well at Conlon_Joseph. Wes, where can they follow you on your socials?
You already know you can follow me on Twitter at big_Wes18. That is BIG_WES18. I talk about NXT. I talk about AEW, of course, every single week. I will be talking about the Great American Bash next week on Twitter, and I will give out my predictions for the Great American Bash. I'm not sure which day yet, but I will have my predictions up on Twitter pretty soon. And then, of course, next week we got Road Rager Man, and I'm going to be on Twitter to talk about it. And, of course, I'm going to be right back here on the Big Fight Field channel to talk about with my good buddy Joseph Conlon right here, man. We're bringing the fire, folks. The fans are back. We're back on tour. We're bringing the fire just like we do every single week. It's going to be no different than how it was with these pandemic shows. We're going to continue to bring you the fire, bring you the best play-by-play analysis of AEW Dynamite like we do every single week. Joseph, I think we're out of here, my man.
We are out of here, man. It is late, and thankfully I'm off work tomorrow. I had work 3 straight days in work. Thankfully, I'm off 3 days in a row, but we are out of here, folks. Have a good one. We will see you next Wednesday to talk about Road Rager, and I will see you Friday night for the SmackDown review here on the channel. So, you guys have a good night, and stay safe, folks.